These particular Spider-Man I call the reject. They're ones that essentially didn't age too well. They were pretty much part of my first designs. They are essentially the groundwork that allowed me to create the better versions, as you'll see later on. Basically, there is a drastic quality dip. This was me kind of experimenting with the Storm Collectibles bodies, working out what worked and what didn't work. And unfortunately, there was a ton that didn't work. So take Spider-Punk, for example. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out whether I wanted the eye this way or that way, so I just decided to settle on having wonky eyes. I thought that was cool at the time, and I liked the metal studs that I used. They were pen tips. I thought that was really cool and interesting, and it was a great experiment. And as much as I like the head sculpt, the body, even though it's uniquely proportioned, he's very top heavy with like this very slender body with the nice jacket, and I love the way I painted the jacket, by the way. It's probably the best part of the custom, but the paint is wearing due to heavy play, right? Because my kids play with these things. As much as I like to call them collectibles, being someone that constantly creates customs, my children take interest and they enjoy playing with the toys that I create. Cosmic Spider-Man is another one. He has a lot of wear and tear that just didn't hold up on the ankles and the legs. This was where I was first trying to figure out how to sculpt the lower legs to be more like the Storm Collectibles aesthetic, but it was also very rushed, and because of that rushing process to just keep up with social media and content and to create content, it definitely favored the Instagram page. Even though they looked great in the photos, they had all these engineering flaws, they had this, you know, paint wear and tear, and it's not paint rub, it's just the silver wore down over time and I really didn't like it, and it'd be very easy for me to just go in and repaint it, right? But that's not something I want to do. Arachnite. You know, this was very hit and miss with a lot of people, dubbed the Assassin's Creed Spider-Man by pretty much my entire community. It has its own charm, but there's something missing. It's very big and bulky, and honestly, when I was making it, I wasn't sure whether it was going to be a hit or a miss, but I like looking at it now, even though it's had several reworks, there's something about it that just doesn't resonate with me anymore. And again, Future Foundation Spider-Man, this was brutal. This difficulty level was so hard just because it's white paint. White paint with the flexibility so that there was no cracking in the torso. That's all well and good, but because of the white paint with the black lines handling it, it's still going to end up with grubby fingerprint marks all over it if, for example, you let your children play with it. So he wore out over time. Moral of the story, don't let your children play with your collectibles, but at the end of the day, this was my own fault because I didn't realize what sealers to use, and I was still figuring things out. I still wasn't sure how to maneuver around the difficulties that are Storm Collectibles customs. But this is the thing, guys. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning. Each one of these customs holds great potential and a chance to tell a fresh story. For Arachnite, I see a perfect evolution, transforming it into an Agent Venom. Edgy, dark tones, bigger body would suit this mold perfectly in my opinion. Once I dremeled down the legs and just recreate it, he would still be stocky, but he would still fall in the line of the Marvel Storm Collectibles roster that I have right now. For Cosmic Spider-Man, something completely off the beaten track. Because he is a lot larger in his body structure, he's got that muscle texture. I believe that a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 styled Iron Man would work really well. Bold colors, sleek lines, get in there and rework the engineering on the articulation points so that he can move a lot more like an Iron Man. I think that would bring this mold to life. As difficult as it is to paint yellow, especially a vibrant yellow, I still like the challenge of that idea. And red, I genuinely disdain painting red. I paint far too much red. I really don't like painting red. So with Spider-Punk, he will likely undergo the biggest transformation. Whether that be something simple as transforming him into the Marvel Rivals version of Spider-Punk, which looks pretty cool. There'll be an image on the screen right now. I think I'm going to go a completely different direction. I love the idea of working on a Age of Apocalypse Iceman. I love that design, but not just any design, the Toy Biz design, because it's just so extravagant. It's also big and beefy, right? That caters towards my art style. So that's the direction I think I'm going to take Spider-Punk, because he's got the build already. He's got the skinny legs that I can build up with the ice. Then he's got that big kind of upper body, which tapers out quite nicely, which again, I can rework and add all the ice sculpt in there. And my biggest draw to that character is painting it. Now, as for Future Foundation Spider-Man, I'm almost certain I'm going to try to do a Moon Knight.
Really?
Now, I'm not sure
Not
what
today,
Moon Knight
though.
I'm going to do, but the white base body is already there as groundwork. I've already prepped everything for white joints. There's already no paint rub for this figure. So, since all the groundwork is laid, I just have to do a little bit of reworking to get it to function. The capes are always quite difficult because I refuse to use soft goods.
Yeah, sure.
Will I use soft goods in this case? I don't know. Maybe, honestly, because Moon Knight's one of those characters where you can't really get away with it being plastic, but we'll see. I'm completely not sure because I'm just so against soft goods. I have a real issue with that stuff. I just don't like the way it feels in my hands. You know, I'm one of those like people who just doesn't like the texture of fabric and toys combined. It's just... So if you want to know what's going on behind the scenes, Patreon's the place to be. Link in the description below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.